JT here, and welcome to The Huddle. The Huddle is where I sit down with successful people from the world of sport and coaching. It's to learn more about their journey to greatness. Why do I have these conversations? Because success always leaves clues. I want to take a moment to thank you, whether you are watching on YouTube or whether you're listening to the audio on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And here's my friendly reminder to you. The mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's wide open. So my challenge to you is to go all in on this conversation, to remove any distractions and get laser focused on the here and the now. And I guarantee you, you will gain a valuable nugget of wisdom that will not only help you succeed in sport, but more importantly, in the game of life. I was reflecting over the last week on what episode to do. And I thought, it's been a while since we created one of these solo episodes. I actually had a great friend and a great coach refer to these. Hey, you should term these the hurry up huddle. So let's give that a go. And for today's solo episode, aka the hurry up huddle, I'm going to share with you 3 questions that I consistently challenge myself with. And I find that the days where I'm most intentional, where I'm most consistent challenging myself with these 3 questions, I find these days are filled with a little bit more calm, a little bit more peace. And really, at the end of the day, that's what we aspire to live, right? A calm and peaceful life. So let's get kicked off, pun intended. The first question I like to challenge myself with, and as I challenge myself with this, these are questions that I actually write out. And I find that that process of writing it out connects the mind to the body and actually helps me to get the thoughts out onto paper. So question 1, and again, I encourage you in a loving way to be open to exploring this question. The first question: who do you want to be today? And that might seem like a big question, but I find that it always prompts me to stop and think. That's what a great question does. So who do you want to be today? And for me, that always reminds me on why I'm doing what I'm doing, who it is I actually want to be, what qualities do I want to demonstrate with those around me. And that question, like, who do you want to be, always allows me to set a North Star, right? I give you this analogy. Currently, I'm in Toronto. So if the goal is to take my family to Disney World, right, for a family vacation, then I know that the goal, right, is getting to Florida. So I know I have to drive, on 401 West, towards London, right, through Detroit. And as I know, those are sort of the North Star. That's what that question is like, is who do you want to be today sets a North Star for you. Does it mean that you'll always be that person? No. You're a human being having a human experience, but you can always strive and aspire to hit that North Star, right? Sort of that reset mentality, that next play mentality. So again, question 1, who do you want to be today? The second question I'd like to challenge myself with is, how can I be more effective today? Again, how can I be more effective today? And this question is interesting because it always ties back to what I aspire to be is a more effective leader in all areas of my life, whether it's professionally, whether it's personally at home, whether it's a leader in my health, in my finances, right? Being an effective leader is great no matter what vertical of life. So that idea always challenges me and reminds me that what are my core values? And core values are those qualities or those core characteristics that we strive to live by. And I'll give you a perfect example. For me, one of the core values I do my best to live by is this idea of like to be empathetic. Right. And being empathetic, right, requires me to take action, to practice being more patient with others. How do I practice being more patient? I challenge myself to curiously ask questions and to actively listen for the answer. As I shared in the first question, does it mean that I'm always being empathetic, that I'm always practicing patience? No. Again, we are human beings having a human experience. But again, it always brings me back to center, brings me back to harmony. In football, we talk about this, bringing back to balance, coming back to balance. So that question of, or that how can I be more effective? By being empathetic, by practicing being more patient, by curiously asking questions and actively listening to the answer, is just an opportunity to recenter me, to refocus, to reharmonize. So that is one thing that I challenge myself on. How can I be more effective today? Third, and the last question that I challenge myself with at the end of the day typically is, did I do my best to practice patience? You might be asking yourself, why do you ask yourself that, right? Did I do my best to practice patience? Well, one, it's an opportunity for me to self-reflect. Like, did I actually do my best? And again, there's no right or wrong answers. The truth of the matter is, some days I do it better than others, but again, that is the game of life. That is a human being having a human experience. But I do find myself sort of challenging, like, did I do my best? Some days I write, yeah, I did a great job. Other days I'm like, I did an okay job. But again, just challenging myself, being open to that self-reflection process just allows me to, self-reflect and give myself, honest, open, transparent feedback. And the interesting thing with that question is I typically challenge myself to write out what actions I took that day. And the interesting thing is, when I'm most intentional, most focused with my actions, typically great patience is the byproduct. On days where I'm not as intentional, not as focused with my action, those are typically the days where I'm being more impatient. So I'll give you, again, that's come through a lot of sets and reps, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of time. I find the days I'm most patient are the days where I've woken up well rested, highly energized, highly enthusiastic. I find it's the days where I've spent the first part of my morning, visualizing, reading while enjoying a coffee, writing, creating, speaking will be in there, podcasting, coaching. Typically it's, days where I'm fasted, where I'm eating whole and fresh foods. So those are the days where I find I did a better job of practicing patience. Now, on the other side of things, when I find I engage a little bit more in the opposite of those behaviors, those actions, That's where I find I'm actually practicing being impatient. So these questions are not the be all end all. They are not the questions you need to ask yourself. But I have found for me, these questions are always a great way to center me, to focus me, to harmonize me, right? To create more unity in my life. So I share them with you. And if there's a question in there that you want to explore, you want to kick around, hey, I encourage you to do so. So again, in conclusion, the 3 questions are: 1, who do you want to be today? 2, how can you be more effective today? And 3, did you do your best to practice patience? And I have found from my experience, the days where I'm most intentional in that practice, I find myself feeling less distracted, more focused on where it is I'm actually going. And the byproduct is I get to be the person that I strive and aspire to be. As always, love having these conversations with you in the huddle. And I want to remind you that knowledge is potential power. It's a consistent and focused application of great knowledge that actually creates greater results in your life. So my challenge to you is to take one of these valuable nuggets of wisdom and go apply it to your life today. And as I like to remind you every week in the huddle, you are deserving of greatness. You are worthy of greatness. You are greatness. And my only ask from these conversations, if it resonated with you, if it touched your heart, then please share it with a friend, a loved one, a teammate, or just someone you think that would benefit from listening to these positive, inspiring, and empowering ideas. The more people we have listening, understanding, and applying these simple principles to their life, the more blessed this world will be. As always, love having these conversations with you in the huddle. Have a blessed rest of your day.